waiting for some of the bolts of lightning, I guess, to come down and get them moving to take a look at some of these. We've sent about 35 job creation bills over there. So it is frustrating, and you know, with this balance, it just I work across the line, across the party lines, and I'm known for that. I was elected as one of the most bipartisan members of Congress, and I'm really proud of that. And so I've been able to work across the lines, particularly like with my flood insurance bill, where we really got a bill out of financial services, 54 to nothing in the committee. People said, "How did you do that?" I said, "Well, we worked with everybody, the groups plus the members." And then it passed out on the floor, 406 to 22. There's always a few people like Ron Paul and Jeff Flake from Arizona that vote no on everything, so that was expected to have some of them. But right now it's over in the Senate, and we sent it over there last July, but we finally, I don't know if any of you were involved, but the industries really went to the Senate and said, "You've got to pass this bill," and it is to expire the reauthorization at the end of this month. So this is crucial what they're doing this week. They're in session. With that, if you've got questions or you want to respond about what's happening with your business, the first question I would have is how's business? The other issue that really troubles me with that is within the affordable health care. And that is particularly, I think, that's going to affect restaurants, just because so many of the smaller restaurants don't provide health care. And what's going to happen is that if there is this mandate, of course we're waiting to hear from the Supreme Court, but if there is this mandate that everybody has to have insurance, then every employee you will have to provide the insurance for, or put them into the exchange. And the exchange is, and then pay a penalty of $2,000 per employee every year. And I know one restaurateur in Naperville said, "Well, I can't provide insurance. I've got 100 employees, and that means I would have to pay $200,000 every year." He said, "I don't make that much, so I just have to shut it down." Yeah. So I think this just has to change, but it's. And the other problem with that, and for everybody, is if the employer is going to figure out that probably paying $2,000 per employee is going to be cheaper than providing the insurance, which means everybody will go into the exchange. And then
the second part of what this gentleman said is that the Obamacare, the affordable health care taxes take effect miraculously after the election, but January 1st. And between that and the Bush tax cuts, if they do expire, and I call them Bush tax cuts, but I really should be referred to as what's the current tax rate in place, right, will be the single largest tax increase ever. And I guess I challenge, and not to you mentioned Democrat, Republican, but I challenge you as a Republican. I'm an accountant. People come in my office, they have no clue that how the sale of principal residences will be taxed. Stock transactions will have Medicare tax attached to them. And I challenge you to make people aware of that, because the fact that people are walking in my office and looking at me like I've got a horn growth in the middle of my head is scary, because these are all taking effect in less than 6 months or 6 months.
Right. Yeah, for somebody to sell a house, if the capital gains go up to 39% or 42% that they're talking about, it's really scary. And you're right, we do try and talk to everybody about this.
I think you need to do a better job, because
the
fact that, or at least your party does, or somebody, because anyone that voted against it should be using this to make sure that everyone's educated. And the people that voted for it, silence is obviously golden for them.
The other, and one of the issues that's so hard to get across to people is that so many of the small businesses pay as an individual, the S corp and whatever. And they don't realize that as that goes up so high, if it goes to 39%, if they're in that bracket, what that means for all of their taxes is going to be. You're not going to have anything put aside to increase businesses.
Well, but I like the fashion that most of my clients are smart, and what they do is they just pass it on to their customers. They pass it on to customers, they take away from the employees. So what happens is, if it's a common fallacy that they say, well, these evil rich people make all this money and they light cigars with $5 bills. But what happens is a lot of them live paycheck to paycheck, I find. So what happens is when their paycheck gets cut, they come back and they say, well, listen, they go to the manufacturing plant and say, there's 18 of you, you 3 are gone, and the 15 of you are gonna work as if there's 18 here. I'm gonna cut I pay your medical, I pay 80% of your medical, I now pay 60%, and I'm taking the match against your 401k and I'm eliminating it. Have a nice day, sorry it had to be this way. When times were good, I gave you bonuses and raises. When times are bad, I gotta take away. They don't eat it, they pass it on, and it's either to their customers or their employees, so we all lose.
Would you like to be our spokesman?
I'd be happy to. You wouldn't be able to shut me up.
But you're so right, and it is so frustrating that we don't seem to be able to get our message out. Because obviously some people have such great way to have sound bites that I have to say the other side of the aisle does a really good job. You know, when they talk about throwing Granny off a cliff, I go to say something that I have mixed metaphors. But it really is important that we do that.
In this state here, we have a higher minimum wage than the regular minimum wage, and we're going to sign that into act. He appeared with a bunch of teenagers and elderly people, said, look what I've done for these people. And every fast food chain, I'm sure you can be one of them, anyone that had minimum wage, they went out and changed their prices. So what happened is, it didn't come from those evil rich people, those evil restaurants. What they did is they jacked up the prices, so Joe Sixpack, who comes into a fast food place in a minivan, now just paid $1.25 more for having his minivan full of kids. It just gets passed down so much.
Well, to segue on that, there's this rule at the 9.5% of poverty level if you don't pay that amount of the health insurance for the family, by the way, not for the individual. So if that insurance is within 9.5%, then that's deemed unaffordable insurance. You're not allowed to ask the employee, what does your spouse do? How much does your family make when you're hiring them? So you can't ask that question, it's against the law. So you're setting a trick bag up there that am I offering enough? And then if they go out and get that subsidy, then you're penalized for the whole amount of people in your business. It's insane. I don't know, there's really no way to ascertain what that information is, until you get the IRS.
Well, you'll know what's in it after we pass it.
Just to add to the health care part, I'm on both sides. I provide services as well as provide health care to my employees, and Rick's operational hospital provides health care services. And I would tell you that just looking at what's going on with Medicare now and Medicaid in the state, that we're asked to do more, we get less. They've created these bidding programs. I'm not sure you're familiar with the competitive bidding program that's out there right now, where it divides product categories, and I had to bid on 10 different Medicare categories. Now, if you would need any of my services, I may only win 2 categories, and somebody else will win 2, and somebody will win 1. Financial part, and I provide health care to my employees. And we're very generous. We only charge them 10% for a single and 25% for their family coverage. I personally don't have it because it costs me more. I have private insurance through another carrier because it's cheaper for me. Fortunately, I'm healthy, and I was healthy at the time I got it. So I pay half as much than what I would pay if I was on my own company insurance because of all the things that are required. No questions asked. Anybody walks in the door, you hire them, and they're your problem if they've got things in their background.
But what you're going to find out is, if you ever talk to anyone that comes from a foreign country and ask them what the health care is like there that's provided by a government mandate, you'll find out that there's crazy rules on how you get service. We're going to fix glaucoma in your eye only when you get glaucoma in the second eye. We're not going to go and do it here. Or we've got a hospital here that's mandated to do 500 MRIs a month. And if you have a problem and it's past the second half of the month, it's going to be at least 3 weeks before you get it. You might as well take half a day off work and wait in line to get an MRI, even though the MRI machine isn't used the second half of the month. And that's what you're gonna find is gonna happen, is you're gonna, I mean, I have clients from foreign countries, and it's, some of these things, it's like out of a book, like, you're kidding,
But that's the
right?
point I'm making.
With all
It's
due,
exactly.
with all due respect, though, it's not foreign countries. We have that in our own country. We have that here in America.
It's gonna also be mandated after
And
this.
it is here. I've worked at several doctor's offices where I could no longer work there because of all of that is involved when a woman with cancer comes in and can't get to see the doctor because it happens here also, unfortunately, but it is also here.
Congresswoman, thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming and giving us an opportunity. Thank you guys for coming.